Greetings, roller coaster fanatics. This is Coaster Fanatic here with a brand new segment. This is called Fanatic Lists, a guide to thrills. Now, this is a brand new segment. This is replacing the old coaster countdowns that I used to do. I will no longer be doing coaster countdowns. Maybe for a vlog, I might do my favorite coasters I've been on, but I won't be doing any coaster countdowns of a certain park anymore. But what I'll be doing is kind of doing a list of coasters that I feel like should be mentioned. I'm excluding ones that are like, you know, Wild Mouses or Kiddie Coasters, and it's going to be kind of a list of 10, and I'm going to kind of jot down what are things I like about that ride, or what are my recommendations and stuff like that. So let's get started with this new segment. I'm excited. Hopefully you are. We're going to start with my home Cedar Fair Park, Kings Dominion. So let's get started. Let's start with the Hurler. The big old question is it rough? It is definitely rough. This thing is not a headbanger, but it is very shaky. I've gotten several bruises on this ride. Now, here's the thing, is that if you're in the front row, it's going to dim down the roughness a little bit. Now, the first drop and the first turn is pretty rough in the front row, but it's not as bad as if you're in the other rows. Just literally the first row is the only good row, and if you're in the other rows, get ready for the roughness of your life. It's just brutalizing. It's not fun at all. And of all the wooden coasters at this park, this coaster does have the longest lines, and in my opinion, it's not worth to ride when the lines are long. If you want to ride it, fine. It's pretty good for the credit. Some people like it because it also has some decent amount of airtime, and also, this coaster is pretty hard to get access to. I mean, there's signs there, but it took me a while to find the line. Plus, just access in general, because it's in the back of the park. It's right there with Ricochet, so it's very far. But what's very surprising is that a lot of people get to this ride very quickly. I mean, this can go from having a 15-minute line to a 45-minute line, and the operations on this coaster are pretty slow, so I mean, it's an okay but not very fantastic. Alright, let's move on to Backlot Stunt Coaster. This is like a teenage coaster. It's very fun. It's got some nice intensity, especially on the first triple, quadruple helix. It is very fun. I love the theming with the cops, of course. Convenience, the only problem with convenience is, here's the thing. So it's just not a double loading station, but it's all about the bins. Now here's the thing, they're on the outside, because you get in, and then right behind where you enter the ride is where you'll exit the ride. And the problem would be is that if you're one of those people that like to cling on to bags, be careful, because the bins there are kind of open to the public, which kind of sucks if you're one of those people that are worried about having your items stolen, which is very unlikely. But for those people that are just uncomfortable with leaving their stuff like that, be prepared, because that happens on this ride. Theming is amazing. They still kept the Paramount theming with the Italian Job. The only difference is, instead of on the billboard saying the Italian Job Turbo Coaster, it now says the Backlot Stunt Coaster, and it's still pretty good. It's got fire, the cops. I mean, it's not often, but it is really fun. Alright, now we move on to Avalanche. This is one of those family coasters where you must ride. It's a very unique roller coaster. It's unlike any others because it's the only Mack Rides bobsled in the US, and it's very fun. Warning, do not lean back in these seats. If you lean back, you're going to feel a huge rattleness, and you might hit your head, because there is not really a headrest for this ride, or you shouldn't be sitting where you'll have a headrest. There's not really one on here. Lines are very quick on this ride, one of the quickest in the park. Pretty good line, so I mean, you don't have to go right off the bat. You can wait a while and do it, and it's one of those rides where it's very relaxing. You kind of twist and turn. It's very mellow, and it's one of those where you've had a long day and you're kind of tired. This is one of those mellow rides that are just really fun. Now, okay, we move on to the Anaconda. Recommendations right off the bat. There are only 2 rows I recommend riding on this. This is the first 2 and the last 2, because the last 2 you get some crazy pop of airtime over the drop, and you gotta get sucked into the drop, and it's not bad. It's very fun, and it eliminates the headbanging or the shakiness in the back. In the front, it's alright too. You kind of slowly creep down the hill, and you get a nice view, and the shakiness is not as bad. Of course, the shakiness is all in the middle of the trains, and it's not that it's rough, it's just shaky. It isn't aerodynamic, so it's not perfect, and it's hand welded. It's not a perfect ride, but it's not a great ride. It is, you know, that happy medium of it's okay, but I can skip, you know. It's in a beautiful setting. It's over a lake. It's pretty good for a nighttime ride if you want to, because it's right there in the dark. It's got some nice inversions, and it's just, I mean, it kind of feels very Anaconda, lake, swampiness, weird music. It's in a perfect spot. It's got quick lines. Lines can get pretty long in this ride, but they're not. It's not like you're waiting forever. This ride has a lot of capacity. It takes a lot of riders per train, so it can dispatch several riders. So I mean, you may be far away from the station in line, but you're up to the station pretty quickly. I mean, it's even worth for a front row because it's just that quick. Alright, now we move on to the Flight and Fear. For me, here's a huge warning for you. I feel a rattle every time I'm riding this, whether it be the front row, the back row, the middle rows. It's it's noticeable. There's a very huge rattle on this ride, and I guess it's either me or I just don't like this ride. I'm not sure, but I mean, it's okay, but there's definitely a huge rattleness. And of course, another problem is I do not like the mid-course brake runs. They just kill any momentum on the ride, which is not really, there's not a lot of momentum. It's pretty slow through that. The theming is pretty good. I mean, it's still got the theming. Thank you, Cedar Fair, for keeping Paramount Park's theme. It's got some nice theme with the aliens. Unfortunately, it doesn't have what they do at Kings Island, where they kind of project a show from instead of the fun TV. They have that cool show that goes on. Unfortunately, that doesn't have that. Warning: long lines. This thing will have an hour to 90 minutes almost a day. I mean, think about it. Even on the weekday, this thing gets 45 to 60 minute lines. It is crazy how long the lines can get on this ride. Recommendation: ride it as early as possible. This thing can just get a crazy amount of lines. I mean, I even went on season pass on the preview day, and it started out with just this one being open, and everybody was there. And even after all the rides opened, this line just was still forever. So that, just warning for that. Alright, Grizzly. So, this is a must ride at night. In my opinion, this is the best ride at night at this park. It is amazing. It's just secluded in the forest, and it's a beautiful setting too. It's got the shortest line in the park because there's just hardly a lot. It's secluded. You can't see this ride. If you didn't do your research, you wouldn't even know this ride even exists because it is back there. You have to go through a store to get there, like kind of where Dinosaurs Alive. Now, here's the question that's on people's minds. Is it rough? No. In my opinion, it's not rough. It's got a little bit of rattliness because it is a wooden coaster, so it's not perfect, but it is amazing because the airtime makes up for it. It is just in a perfect setting, especially during the nighttime ride where you can't see a thing. You just feel like you're going into a pit of darkness when you're going down the drop, and the airtime is phenomenal. Okay, so I have mixed reviews for this one because Dominator has its good days and its bad days. Recommendations: please go in the front row. I mean, if you do any other row, you're just going to be ending up having a headache after this ride because the rattle is strong with this one. The rattle is strong with this one. It is just, I mean, there are good days and bad days, but the good days are when you're in the front row, and the problem is it's good in the beginning of the day, but the bad news is just the lines are crazy. This ride is popular. I mean, this will have very long lines throughout most of the day, so that is a warning because there are long lines on this. Yes, there's a big rattle. Nighttime ride, I don't recommend nighttime ride. It's a parking lot coaster kind of. It's right there, so I mean, it's okay to ride, but I mean, that's where the rattle is the most, is during the night. So during its end of its session. So recommendation: try to ride it closer to earlier in the day. Alrighty, we move on to Rebel Yell, the classic. In my opinion, this is the best wooden coaster at the park. Yes, that answered that question. Best wooden coaster. This is a classic. It's just the straight out and back. It's got the American theme to Rebel Yell, what happened in the Civil War. Airtime is phenomenal. You just right off the bat with the first airtime hill. I mean, if you're in the back row, you're gonna get some decent airtime when you're going over the drop, and it's a beautiful setting. I mean, what's cool is that it goes through the halfway through the park, but it goes over the water park, so you kind of get to go under it. Scares guests while you're going under the roller coaster, just hoping for when that coaster will drop. And it's kind of beautiful. I love the lighting on it too. It is very fun, and it's definitely a really must ride. Alrighty, Volcano the Blast Coaster. This is definitely, right off the bat, ride this first. I can't tell you enough. Ride this ride first, because the lines go crazy right off the bat. This ride, even on a weekday, can have 60 to 90-minute lines. Just because it's not about the capacity. It's just it's the most popular ride in the park. It may not be the fan favorites, but it is the most popular ride there. So just be prepared, because these lines can get crazy long. Please ride it as quick as you can. I know Flight of Fear gets it, but you got to get on this before Flight of Fear, because these lines can be atrocious. Now the nighttime ride, it's just fantastic. Sometimes you'll have the fire going and make it an even kind of scary theme, and it is just incredible. The nighttime ride is crazy. It's like you're flying over the park. Best invert? I mean, it could be. In my opinion, it's my favorite inverted coaster I've been on, but it's just an amazing invert. Intamin did a good job, and the launch is fantastic. So it's just a really good roller coaster. And last but not least, we have Intimidator 305. Best ride? Of course, this is the best ride in the park, in my opinion, and it's a fan favorite. The intensity is outrageous. I mean, right off the bat, you can gray out on the first turn because you're pulling 6Gs. It is just fantastic. Are the lines long? Not really. They're medium. They're 50-50. A lot of people are scared of this roller coaster, so I mean, lines can get, I mean, it depends if the college kids are there. College kids are there, I mean, we're going to have atrocious lines, but that's usually during the hot when the lines are atrocious on this ride. Other than that, the lines are not bad. Please do a nighttime ride on this, like Grizzly. It's like you're dropping into a pit of darkness because you're just going straight down. This thing is secluded back in the forest, and the intensity just makes it all more. It's like it's more intense at night, so it just brings it out. So that is a new segment, which is Coaster List or Fanatic Lists, a guide to epic thrills. This is basically of parks that I've been to. Hopefully you all like this. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. And as always, Roller Coaster Fanatics, keep coasting.